Hey, welcome to Taco Bout You. We missed last week, had to get back in the groove of things, but this week we have a cool episode for you. My guest, my sister, Kayci Valdez. She's our head crew teacher. So you might have seen her in those videos. She has done a lot in the church, and she volunteers at the church as well. So she does quite a bit. She could do more.
Good one.
But my sister, Kayci Valdez, right
Hello.
here.
I'm
Hello.
Kayci Valdez.
We ate dinner. She didn't want to eat on camera. So we already ate dinner, and now we're doing the interview. So, Kayci, let's start the easy one. What is your favorite food?
Oh, man. My favorite food before not eating the good food, because I'm not eating good food right now because I'm trying to lose weight. Basically, I love bread and waffles. Oh, cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls. Cream cheese icing.
Guilty pleasure
all
of yours.
day.
Yeah.
That's how I found out I was pregnant with one of my kids. Ate 7.
7.
7.
That's quite a bit.
It's a record.
That's
Not
quite a
ashamed.
bit. I don't think I've ever eaten 7. That's a
They're the
good
little
number
ones.
there. I mean,
Thanks.
wow.
I'm proud.
Should be. No.
Thanks.
Sidetrack. This is going to be a fun one for me to keep her on task and her not to get me off task. So, those that don't know, you are my baby sister. You are the youngest of the bunch of this East clan. How is it being the baby? Let us know.
Well, I'm not the golden child. I'm sitting next to the golden child. I am the prettiest. I'm the coolest. Basically the most spoiled, but I'm not the golden child. So that's how it is.
Most spoiled, but not the golden child. Huh?
It's true.
It's true. So when we were younger, I don't know if you remember this. I used to have one of those blow-up punching bags.
Yes, I remember
You
this. No, I don't.
So let's go on record so that I can get out of trouble for this. Whose fault was that incident?
Well, if it wasn't...
Explain the incident. Okay, I had a punching bag.
He had one of those blow-up punching bags. Was it Donald Duck?
Donald Duck.
Donald Duck. Asked me if I remembered it. I remember details. And he punched me in the eye.
No, that's not exactly how.
Isn't that what happened?
No, I was
Didn't
punching.
I get like a black eye?
She wouldn't leave me alone.
I was also punching because that's what little sisters do. We also punch.
So, and she hit it and it moved
and he punched me in the eye.
I got to spank him for that.
He did.
I did.
Him or Daniel Barnhart. I'm blaming one of them.
No, it wasn't Daniel. It was me.
No, I know who hit me.
We were pretty close growing up. We've always been pretty close. Used to idolize me. Used to want to be like me. Did that help influence you at all? Having a brother that was into sports and into stuff like that, did that help you like get your foot in the door saying, I want to be in sports like that?
Well,
or was it just I like sports?
No, I mean, I guess I'll admit it. I like to do what you did. I like to run around shirtless.
Don't have to go.
Oh no, edit. I like to do what Braden did. I wanted to play sports. I mean, you did basketball, so I wanted to do basketball. And I wanted cool shoes, like your basketball shoes, which I had started a shoe fetish very early on. But we won't get into that. But yeah, no, I mean, sports. I mean, I loved running around, being cooler and tougher than you. It's factual. Ask the pastor. But all seriousness, actually, yeah. I mean, from when we were little and still in your little Ninja Turtle doll thing you had, stuffed animal, my bad, to when we were older and you wrote my college essay so I could get into college. Is that allowed to be on there?
I guess so.
I mean, I'm out now, so I think
I wrote her college essay so she could get accepted.
So not only were you an influence, you also helped me in
there you go
a lot of ways.
Yeah. And we grew up in church, and you were always very into church and very involved and had friends. Growing up, because your kids are in church, my kids are in church, what is something you remember from when you were growing up in the church that you would like to encourage parents that are going to church that might get a little down on it and be like, man, this is so difficult?
Well,
something grab from that.
Right. Well, from what I remember being raised in church, because I guess all I remember is going to church at Brother Bernard's in Austin, but also being a crew teacher and having my own kids, that I have to remember this a lot too. I know I've talked to several parents in our church about their kids, and I'm like, listen, I'm telling you this, but I'm also telling myself. But when I was younger, I mean, I was hard-headed, maybe a little bit.
Didn't go well.
I am not perfect, but I'm perfectly imperfect.
There you go.
However, no, I remember, I mean, from what I remember being a kid, I remember the day I got the Holy Ghost, like as if I could relive it right now and tell you everything from the clothes I was wearing on. And I was so excited. And what's crazy is I remember listening to Sister Ferris, who's passed on now. And I just remember listening to her pray. Mm-hmm. And then I would copy what she said because I didn't know how to pray when I was little. Mm-hmm. And this was before I got the Holy Ghost, after, during. It's crazy what your kids hear you say. So when I'm sitting there praying what this wonderful teacher was praying, I was just copying what she said. But then all of a sudden, it's like I started saying my own things. Mm-hmm. She was praying for, so-and-so and so-and-so and this and that. And I'm, I know nothing about that at 5 years old. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to pray for my brother's cat. And I'm going to pray for our dog, Duke. Or I'm going to pray for, the things kids pray for. Sometimes it's pretty silly. But sometimes, being a crew teacher, sometimes I'm like, man, like that was deep. And it's usually little Brayden. Just FYI. But no, it's crazy because kids listen to you. And not just to you, but when you bring them to church, they listen to, right now we're doing church services, but our kids are sitting in. And we may think, oh, well, they're just coloring. Well, you know what? They're hearing this still. We may not look at it like that because, yeah, they're coloring or they're fiddling with something. But, they hear you. I just remember that's how I learned how to pray. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's right. I copied people. And then I kind of developed like my own way to pray. I was like, okay, well, she started out with saying, thank you, Jesus. So I'm going to start out with thank you, Jesus. And it's really cool because being in Sunday school, every time, I lead prayer, and then later we'll choose a kid and usually hands shoot up, which is really cool. Parents, be encouraged by that. Because if they're not scared to pray, you're doing something right. Yeah. So when their hands shoot up and they start to pray, it's funny because I can hear a little bit of Miss Emily in their prayers. I can hear a little bit of Miss Jenny in their prayers. I can hear a lot of bit of Keka in their prayers. And, I hear each kid's parents. It's really cool because you may not see it because you don't get to sit with them in the church setting. You get to sit with them at home and all that, but you're going to sit with them in church. And I guess the thing I would say to encourage you is just remember you coming to church and you praying and worshiping. They see that. My Weston, who'll be 2 in just a week, anytime he sees someone on Sunday, he saw Talitha up there with her beautiful family. And she raised her hand. So Weston looks and he goes, and he starts doing that. And I was like, they see you. And it's something as simple as that. Yeah. They see you, they listen to you. That's what I did when I was little. Yeah. And then God used it. And then I spoke in tongues. And I remember screaming, yeah! Like I just won a trophy after I was done praying. And I ran to my dad and was like, Dad, I got the Holy Ghost. It was cool. Up. It was. That's
a good thing to remember.
Pumped. Still pumped.
Good. Should be.
I am. Thank you.
Going back, not as far. Not a lot of people know a lot about you, but used to be into sports. You used to be big time. You played softball pretty much. That was your main sport throughout middle school, high school, all that. Mm-hmm. You dropped all the others. As an athlete, and I know, like you said, none of us were perfect. We all made mistakes. But as an athlete, how did being a Christian help you in that mold of being an athlete?
Man, that's tough because I want to say a bunch of things, but I'm not sure. Well, First off, it helps you with your anger because I don't get angry. But just kidding, I do. However, in sports, you're like, man, I want to hit that girl with a bat, but I'm saved. So I can't do that because everyone looks and there's like, oh, there's that preacher's daughter.
Yeah.
There's that preacher's daughter over there. She's got a, But I mean, it was hard. It taught me a lot though, and I'm glad that I was raised how I was, because when I made varsity my freshman and sophomore year, that doesn't settle well with your seniors. As some of you who have kids and teenagers, or some teenagers watching, you kind of get ticked off when a freshman takes your spot on varsity and you're a senior. And that happened a lot. I moved to Burnett and, in the middle of my sophomore year, and was on varsity then as well. And I mean, you take some people's spots, it kind of makes them a little upset. But all that to say, I mean, when you have Jesus, instead of, I see a lot of kids nowadays and it kind of upset, it's like, man, that stinks. Like, I wish that y'all knew, like, nowadays everything's a competition. And I mean, I get it in sports. Sports is competitive. That's what it is. It's a competition of whatever's your choice of sport. But, as growing up, I mean, it's a great way to witness and to reach out to people, because you don't have to follow the group. You don't have to be, the cool one. You don't have to be that. I was always weird. I know that's very, very surprising. But I was always the, one that, I was known as a pastor's daughter, youth pastor, preacher, whatever. Or in Liberty Hill, I was known as your sister, which...
Yeah, that's why she moved.
Yes, amen. That's true. But, I mean, overall, I mean, I even went to college and I cheered.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to... Sometimes it tests your Jesus, y'all.
So I was going to get into that, the next question. Because growing up, you hated cheerleading.
God. Still do.
What made you change and say, I'm just going to try cheerleading while I'm at college?
Because I was athletic. And I was like, okay, well, I have a lot of Concordia friends on Facebook.
That's good.
So y'all are all awesome. However, when we started at Concordia, the softball team was garbage. And I was like, what else do they have? I love extracurriculars, kind of like you love ping pong then. I was like, okay, I'm going to work out all the time. Well, what else can I do? And this year, in 2008, they decided they were going to start a cheerleading squad. And I was like, first it was a joke, okay? Yeah. I was laughing with my roommate, Princetta. Hey, girl, hey. And Princetta and I were like, no, we're not cheerleaders. No, And then I was like, I'm going to try out, though. Like, I'm going to go in there, and I bet anyone can make it. And, I honestly went in there kind of cocky. But I made it. Hello. And it was awesome. I mean, it really was. And it actually made me respect cheerleaders a lot, because I was one of those where I was like, that's not a sport. You don't run. You don't, have to lift. You don't do this. And I always heard people say, well, you lift people. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll throw you across the room. Cool. I mean, I don't get it. But then I became one, and it was really cool. Oh, yeah. I'm so glad I experienced that. And it was even more cool because I skipped all of the popular, what the parents and the kids go through from, youth to middle school to high school. And I was like, cool, well, I just jumped on the college cheerleading bandwagon.
Jumped on it.
Yeah, well, it was new.
It was new.
That was pretty awful.
Time for this next part. It's called Talk About This Pic. They will see these pictures. The first one right here.
Oh, bless God.
Explain what is going on there.
First off, what is that stance I'm in? I would like to just note that I was probably dominating at football, and Mason, probably was cheating. Jessica was probably standing there cheering for someone to get tackled, and then it looks like Samantha Noblin, got tackled. And I probably did it.
And then let's go to little baby Kayci.
Lord. Courtney Kanesh Williamson. I hope you see this, because we were spying on her older brother underneath a pool table. We heard music and we heard him on the phone. So we thought he was trying to hide a conversation. So we army crawled underneath the pool table to go listen.
Oh, God.
Oh, we did. We had fun.
And here's the last one I'll show. What is up with
Oh,
that?
man. Well, my mouth is huge. Let's just get that out of the way. And Ricky's facial hair. Bless the Lord. Sometimes we just are not normal. That's why we mesh well.
That's why you mesh well.
Yeah, that was a bad, rough one. I thought you picked a cute one, but you didn't.
Picked good ones. I
So
went
terrible.
easy on you.
Mm.
Went easy on you.
Mm.
So you brought up, you remember receiving the Holy Ghost, and obviously life happens, things happen. You get older, you go your direction, you do your things. You got involved in church, and you got involved in singing. You've always loved singing. For those that don't know, she loves singing.
Mm-hmm.
So what is like an inspiration, or why did you get into singing? Why did you like singing so much? And then why don't you sing anymore at
Oh,
church?
man, you did that?
They want to
Oh,
know.
Lord.
It's one of the number one questions I get.
I'm not responsible for the faces my face makes.
But so what got you into singing, and then what made you fall in love with singing?
Well, at New Life in Austin, where we grew up going to church, I always got the cool big parts for the singing. You remember those
Yes,
little
I
plays?
remember plays.
You were a robot one time. Anyways, and I would sing, and I was like, well, I guess if I keep getting these parts, I'm okay, And then I was like, I was never really confident about it. I don't know. And I know that sounds weird, especially for those who know me in my singing. I'm very loud and proud, I guess. Anyways, I used to get those parts, and I loved it. And then actually, Sarah Simmons, remember her? Sarah and Seth? Duh, sorry, my bad. Her and her husband, Seth, started teaching me the guitar, and I was terrible at it.
Yes.
Absolutely awful. It hurt my fingers. I hated every second of it. So I was like, y'all play, I'll sing. And I wrote a song with my friend Amy Husledge, which is Pastor Husledge's daughter, oldest daughter. And then from there, I just kind of like developed a love for it. I didn't care if I sounded good anymore. I was just like, I loved how it made me feel when I sang it. And, I'm not a songwriter. I'm not Nick. My words are just like how I talk.
Yeah.
It's a lot of words that could be 3, but there's 300.
It's true.
I got it from Emily. No, but the first time I ever sang in front of a big crowd was a Mary Mary song, Shackles, in front of a youth rally at New Life. And I'll never forget it because I was only 14. No, I was 13. And it was me and one of the older girls, Mandy Austin. She's a little bit older than me, and she can sing. She sings like for a living now. She's great. And I got one of the parts, and she got the other part for that Shackles song. And ever since then, that's when my confidence boosted, not just in me sounding good, but in God. Like, I didn't need the confidence of sounding good, but yes, it is important to me, obviously. But I had the confidence in, if I feel it, it doesn't matter if I miss a part, or if I miss a key, or if I'm a little pitchy or whatever. What mattered was I connected with it. And when I connected with it, and I sang it in front of people, they connected with it. And that to me is really important. And I think that's why you can have the most talented and most beautiful singers in the world, but if you don't connect to them, it's pointless. I mean, I have some singers that I listen to on Christian Contemporary, and I'm like, man, their songs are, her voice is gorgeous, but this song is okay, cool. But I don't know. Now I have to say why I stopped.
You don't have to.
I will say my
People want to know when or if or why.
I would love, and I plan on, fun fact, start singing again very soon. Also, because we have 2 ladies pregnant on our praise team, and so I'm gonna have to. No, I'm just kidding. I do plan on singing because I do love it, but I stopped because of personal reasons. Yeah. Not just Well, first off, everybody goes through a spell, I think. If you don't, then you're awesome. I mean, hallelujah. But, I had a rough time. I created my own problems. Yeah. I didn't even have to. Yeah, I didn't have to make the devil didn't have to do nothing because I just did it myself. But I overcame them. But in those times, I stepped down because I was like, as cheesy and cliche as it sounds, I kind of felt like I lost my song.
Mm-hmm.
Not just I could still belt it out if you told me to, and I would, and I still will.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not in my right spot and walk spiritually, so I didn't. Almost like I didn't feel worthy of singing because I knew that my heart wasn't right with God.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I was like, man, I need to be on this praise team. I'm loud and I love singing and I love just ministering to people. That's my happy place. That's my safe haven, as they say now. And when I got up on, the platform or in front of people to sing, I mean, I was like, okay, this is I can chill and I can be me that I've strayed from. But, then I went back and I sang and then stepped back. I mean, and of course we've had transitions in our church, which,
very much.
But at the same time, I mean, I'm ready and I'm excited. And now, being a part of crew, I sing in there all the time. Those kids, I'm not sure they like it though. And I do all sorts of styles of music too.
Yeah. You kind of touched on something pretty big. I gauged some of the questions. I got a bunch of questions, but unless someone brings something up, certain I won't. But you said, the devil doesn't have to do nothing. I did it myself. But that's kind of a big thing. It's for a lot of people, it's a big step. A lot of times we are going through things or going through personal things, but we still push and push and push and try to put the front on.
Yeah.
And that's that's good, but it also takes a different level of courage or commitment, if you would, to say, you know what, I need to step back because I'm not helping people.
Right.
I'm not really helping people because I'm not in the right spot. Now, for those people that might be feeling that, what kind of helps you, because going through what you went through, whether it was your self-made or devil-made, whatever, what kind of helped you get through some of that stuff?
Well, what helped me? I mean,
you don't have to cry. If you cry, it's okay.
No, I don't cry.
Okay.
I'm not a crier. I have no emotions. No, what helped me get through that? I mean, once I was faced with an ultimate test, which is part of my testimony. When I was pregnant with Madeline, and in the hospital room, not many people know this. I was given the option to. I went to get my knee surgery, and I was given the option to tell my parent I couldn't get it. And I was like, what? Like, hey, I want to get this over with. And they're like, ma'am, you're pregnant. And they made my parents step out. And I was like, they're going to kill me. Like, I was nervous. And it ended up, I was. And they said, you can tell your parents and we can just reschedule. Or, for when after you have a baby, or, we can just lie outright. They even said this. It's crazy. And this was Madeline's going to be 9 this year. So
2011.
Yeah. So then they said, or we can, just tell everybody it was a scheduling conflict and that you're not, ready, whatever. Or they gave me the option to take care of it. And I was like, and of course, me being me, I was like, excuse me, nurse, what do you mean? And the doctor was in there as well. And I was just like stunned that they said that, because I was like, if you're thinking and saying what I think you're saying, then wow, like what? Whoa, like you said that. Did you know you said that? Like I was really, and I was, I don't know how old I was.
20, 21.
I was 20, going to be 21.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, no, because taking care of it, obviously meant getting rid of the baby. And so I was like, no, I'll tell them. But in that, I'm not tooting my horn. I'm not, saying anything. But for me, that was a turning point. For me, that was like, I was faced with that right then and there. I could have done something and done it in secret. No one would have ever known, wouldn't got my surgery, everything. And I could have done that. And immediately my answer was no. And that, to me, was kind of like, doesn't mean that hardships didn't follow or don't still follow to this day. I mean, of course, that's life. It's the world we live in. But that was a big turning point in me. That kind of, in me, I was like, you know what? Like, I was proud of myself. I know that kind of sounds weird because in the moment, emotions, everything is heightened, but I was like, man, like I could have just been told, I could have just taken care of this. And it's crazy because I say it's the ultimate test because I didn't think twice. And you don't, and you don't, sometimes you don't realize that you're still there. Like Kayci was still there. Although she was acting a hot mess or acting a fool, as they say, I was still in there. So when they offered something so, just to me in my world, that's just like,
It was against you.
Yeah, it's everything against me, against what I was raised as. And although I was living a lifestyle of rebellion, I still was me. And when I said no, and then I just, was like, no, it's fine. Thank you. I didn't want to say thank you. I wanted to be like, you need Jesus. Okay. No, it's a little controversial. Sorry. You back that up. But that helped me. I mean, I think from there, through everything that I've gone through since then, you have to really forgive yourself though. Because although I made a turning point there, I was still dwelling on the past mistakes. And then, as I went on in the future from then, which is now my past, I just kept reminding myself, Kayci, you're not what you're being. And it's hard. It is so hard to tell yourself that. I mean, now having kids, the mom thing kind of kicks in, and it's weird because I'm sure it was weird. Like, hi, you're my baby sister and you're a mom. Weird. Still weird, right? It's weird that you have a million kids. But no, I mean, it kicked in. And then after that, I was like, then that kind of was a turning point for me. I was like, you know what? Like, I would not want my kids I want to raise them like I was raised. I was raised in a wonderful Christian upbringing, and I'm so blessed and grateful for it. And a lot of people think, oh, well, those East kids, they didn't go through anything because they were raised in church. But like I said, that's where I came in. That's where I came now, where I can actually say, I've heard Dad say it a million times, you sometimes hand over the keys to the devil. You open the door pretty much. And that's what I did. I mean, but then I closed it, and it was hard, and it's not easy, and it's not a simple answer as prayer. Prayer is the ultimate answer. Digging your mind and your life into the word. I know it's hard nowadays to read it. Put it on an audiobook. The kids and I listen to songs that sing the Bible verses because we like to sing. But I mean, to me, that wasn't so simple to just pray through it. For me, that was really hard because I was like, what do I pray for? I don't deserve, to pray to God. Like, I messed up royally. Like, I jacked up, man. Like, but then I prayed. And then not just that, being around our church family, some who aren't with us anymore and some who are still here. And some who we went to church with in Austin, and, just digging into them and reaching out and just, surrounding yourself with those people who love you. And yeah, they fall too. I mean, and I don't want perfect people around me. I don't think I like it as anyway. If you ask Mom, yes. But no, I mean, it's hard. You need to surround yourself with those. And I am either lucky or out on luck that our father is also our pastor. And it's great. And it's tough. I mean, because you're like, no, I want my dad right now. Don't want my pastor. And then he's always like, well, I'm both. And I'm like, meh. But, talk to him. I mean, he's not there to judge you and condemn you. He's there to lift you up. And I know I'm his daughter, but there were things he said that I didn't like. To this day, I'm sure there's things where I'm like, yes. I'm just in smile and wave, boys. But, ultimately that's what plays in your head when you're like, okay, what do I need to do? And it's like that thing, that pastor, that, dad pastor, papa pastor right there just telling you, I already told you this. It's like the good angel and the little devil, and he's always right there. And then it's like Kayci's over here. So, but it's hard. I mean, it's something you gotta just personally really work through. And it's hard. And I still work through things today. And I think when you put yourself into shoes, I never thought I'd teach kids, Braden. I still wonder, Jesus, I'm good at this. Why, Lord?
So So you brought up the decision, like when you found out you're pregnant, then that decision they presented you, saying, "Hey, we can either take care of it and get an abortion, or you can go this route or this route." And you said that, yeah, instant for you, it was like, man, that doesn't tackle me. But a lot of young ladies out there that are young or are in a bad situation or whatever it is, are faced with that decision, whether we like it or not. And what's something that you could say? Something you would say to maybe a young lady that's out there struggling, and it's not as easy for her to make up her mind on that part? Because when you're presented with that, you're like, I could, and it would be a lot easier for me if I did that.
And it is.
But yeah.
I mean, and I know that nowadays people say they're against it or they're for abortion. And then, and I understand the thinking in it. Granted, I don't support it regardless. That's my personal thing. With certain incidents that, they're like, I don't want to have this baby. It's not even, Anyways, saying that, man, it's hard. It's not easy. If you're struggling now, even with a relationship or with a pregnancy, with something that you are just so like, you're in a place where you have no idea, you're at the end of the road and you have to choose a way to go. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. Either way to go. And, some of us, like you said, weren't raised like us. So it wasn't, immediate reaction. And what helped me is, granted, I was doing all the things a rebellious, young person does. Not all the things. I was pretty good. But I was a good rebel,
There you go.
No, it's not easy. And it's something where you got to look at yourself and think, is this something I can live with? Because it's crazy, because in that question that she asked, although I responded immediately, 1 million things went through my mind. I was like, okay, well, can I do this? Can I live with this? I've have people I know who I still talk to that have had abortions, and they weren't raised like you and I were. And they've told me, it's just something I struggle with all the time, because I think now they have kids, and they're like, although it came out of a really, really terrible situation, just an ungodly situation, or whether it came from, just a young, ridiculous mistake, whatever the case is, you just got to look at yourself and think, like, if you live for God, just think to yourself, who am I to make that choice? That's what I thought. Who am I to make the choice if this baby lives or dies? There's so many women out there who are trying to have babies, that can't. And this is the stuff that went through my head at 20. I didn't care nothing, did not want no kids. Yeah. I was going to be young and beautiful forever. And well, let's not get into that. But these are the things I thought of, who am I to be the one who makes this decision? I know people say it's you, it's your body, that's why you get to make it. You're absolutely right. And I'm very grateful we have those freedom of choices. But if you're struggling, if you don't pray, if you don't believe in God, believe in yourself and think, to give this baby or this, at the time, this pregnancy, just this fetus, whatever you want to call it, to give it life. I can give it the best life, and I can give this child, or you can give it up for adoption. And that's, I salute people who do that, because they face these terrible situations. But just love yourself enough to make that decision, and to know that no matter what, that child that's going to be born could have a better life. Yeah. Taking it, that's not only obviously hurting the pregnancy, because, it's alive in you at that point, you're pregnant, but it's also going to hurt you in the long run. And some people may say, oh, I'm fine. But like I said, a couple people I know, they struggle with it still to this day. And my heart goes out to them, because at that time they felt like that was the right choice. And I'm not one to say what they did is, right or wrong. However, according, to what I believe, it wasn't. And even then, though, God forgives, and he loves you, and he's going to love you, and he's going to love your child. And God's thing is, that's something with Madeline, I mean, she, I didn't have to go through fertility and infertility and all that stuff to have her, but I did go through my own hardships and I did choose her. And to this day, I'm thinking, man, if you're going through that and you choose that baby, you're going to see the moment you see its face, whether it on a sonogram or when it's here, when your baby is here, you're going to be like, wow, like,
good choice.
Yeah, you're going to think, man, that was a great choice. And you may not believe in God, or you may not pray, or you may not be where you want to be with God, but you're going to thank God for that baby when you see it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's tough, and I can't say it's easy.
No, yeah.
I don't want to lie.
There's not a great ansor. Or
it's a terrible question.
It was a good question. I thought. Pat myself on the back. So we'll get a little lighter.
Yes.
How was it growing up as a pastor's kid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it could be a little lighter. I guess I could get deep too. But growing up as a pastor's kid, what is it like? There's PKs out there, right? I mean,
yes.
And we were PKs, still are PK. For those that don't know,
forever a pastor's kid.
Yeah, stands for pastor's kid.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
I mean, of course, there's that. Oh, well, Kayci is going to be held here. Well, so-and-so is here because she is a pastor's kid. And I was like, that's fun. That's super cool. But that's why I am who I am. I think that's why a lot of pastors' kids really strive to be the best, no matter what path they take in the long run. Some who are still like you being a associate pastor, being a youth pastor, like myself, being a minister in children's ministry, like Jessica, who does everything. She's just a woman of many traits, and has 2 babies that are crazy. But, I think that puts us to where we are. Like, even in the past that they choose, if it doesn't involve being heavily involved in church, it molds us. And it does. It has its downfalls because some people can't handle being held up to that standard. And it's tough. I mean, there's times when I'm like, okay, but then at the same time, it's awesome. I got to go on youth trips to Six Flags when I was like 5. Maybe not that young, but then I got to meet, a bunch of people. I got some seriously amazing and incredible experiences because I was a pastor's kid. I mean, of course, it was open to kids who weren't pastors' kids, but I feel like I got extra because I got to go to those youth rallies and those HYCs when I was like 10. Yeah. And felt like I got some extra Jesus, and I needed it. And I still need it.
For the long run.
Yes, Lord, hallelujah.
Sorry. And I'd mentioned to other people before this that I know my long-winded ones and my not long-winded ones. I said, Pastor Nick and Kayci will probably be my longest-winded interviews because they talk a lot.
We're awesome, Nick.
Y'all are awesome, yes. So
you give us the hardest question.
I didn't give you the hardest questions. You opened up, and I went with it.
Okay.
What is like a favorite memory, like one of your most fun memories of? Because a lot of kids that were looking forward to, like your the crew kids, looking forward to camp this year. I know Braden was so much. I know Cassie for the youth was. They're all looking forward to camp. And just tell them like one of your most fun, your favorite memories from camp.
So like, this is not going to be the correct answer, but I'm going to say it anyways. Then I'm going to give a better answer. Okay. I love dressing up, y'all. You got a new wardrobe. Even if it wasn't new to you, it was like you got to exchange clothes. You had people who, them Pentecostals can do some hair, and even then, just your friends. Like you get to be around these friends that I'm speaking of that we had fashion runway shows with at the churches. That was so fun. I know it sounds petty and ridiculous, but it also is a bonding thing, especially for us girls. We were like, we got to do our hair, and it was all. Not like you see today where you're sipping on something and getting a little tipsy or something and doing your hair and your nails and having fun. I say that because, at salons you can drink now. Oh,
you don't have to go into that. Yes, I did.
Okay, so anyways, but it was a bonding thing, and I loved that. And that's how I met some of the greatest people that I still talk to from when we were, like, young, going to, Discovery Camp or Lufkin even.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. But then on top of that, the services, it's like you have so many people, young and old, doesn't matter. There were babies who went. I remember people, and now I get it. At the time I was like, why'd you bring your baby? Now I'm like, I'm bringing my baby. But there's so many people and who are so open and willing and ready to, and they're just like, pastor says, come expecting. And everyone, it's almost like everyone that goes to camp is coming expecting. And if you don't, you're going to have to, because your mom and dad paid for you to go to camp. So you better expect something and get something. And I can't tell you, there were so many times, if you haven't received the Holy Ghost, go to camp. You're going to get it because everybody else is getting it. And then it's just like something just hops up on you and you're like, what just happened? Hold on, I blacked out. No. But and it was amazing. And you pray for people you've never met, but yet I think that's where a lot of our prophetic people come from. That's where a lot of our intercessors are created and made. And kids camp was just, I'm a little upset that I didn't get to go.
Didn't get to go. This is your first year back.
I know.
To kids camp.
And I was gonna throw some Jesus on our babies.
Oh goodness.
Especially mine.
So you have 3 kids now, 2 boys and a girl. You are a mom, a wife. Mm-hmm. You do a lot. What's going on in your life? We're closing out. What's going on that you want people to know? Maybe something else that you want them to know about you. Like, hey, this is me.
I am a wife and a mom.
That's not.
I am brushing up on my cooking skills.
There you go.
I am. No, I just wife and I mom.
Wife and mom.
And it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And I'm praying for the Rona to get on out of here.
Hey, you mentioned that.
Lord Jesus, I'm just kidding. Back up.
No. Coming from, because KK and I, we do the homeschool, and your kids were in public school. What was that like? Having your kids like, hey, you're going to have to do this distance learning thing now, all online.
I'm confident I don't want to homeschool. 100%. No,
that's a big thing to take on, huh?
Well, it's not just that, but distance learning and homeschooling are 2 different worlds.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think a lot of the homeschooling parents who, Facebook, and all those memes that were like, oh, welcome to the homeschool, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yes. I was excited. The first week I was making these cool papers, and I'll show you one time. And I made these really cool worksheets. I Pinterest everything. And then it was like the next week the school was like, here is your work and please return or else your kid has to repeat the same grade. And I was like,
oh, no.
Yay. Yeah, because then you had to contact teachers, and the teachers did awesome.
Yeah.
It was really I can't imagine that. And it was tough for all of us, I think. I also realized why my kids get notes at home once in a while. Why their grades might be what they're... No, I'm just kidding. But it was good, though, because I'm actually... Although there are days where I'm done. Ricky, get home. Lord Jesus, come home. Take these babies. Let me go. Let me walk outside with the chickens. I don't really care. But you get to spend more time with them, and that's really cool. That is something I think that is taken for granted by us parents, whether you homeschool, you put your kids in public school, private school, whatever the case is. Just remember that. I hate that saying, but in the blink of an eye, Madeline's going to be 9, and she was born yesterday. So I'm not sure. But it was tough.
Weston's going to be 3.
2.
In a week.
So, and Ricky's going to be 32 on that same day. I want to throw his age out. Absolutely.
32. No, but thanks for doing this interview. Thanks for opening up for people that don't know you as well. We didn't get too deep, but we got a little bit. You got a little taste of Kayci. Okay. And for those that don't know, and for those that know Kayci at all, you would have never known. She's not shy. She may have acted shy. But she has chickens and ducks and turkeys. Mention in the comment if you ever thought you'd see Kayci East with chickens and ducks and turkeys. No one would say yes. I want you to share this funny story, and this will be it.
This is the one I shared on Crew?
No, not about that. No, this is about you. We're about you, not your kids.
Sorry, it's hard.
We talked about school, about being in school. I think you were like kindergarten.
Oh, Braden, what if he watches?
That'd be awesome. Hey, I almost said the name, but she could say your name. So just share the story. And girls, listen. Little girls, you can do this. It's okay.
So.
For those that don't know, you wouldn't know.
Listen, it's funny because we both went to Vernon. This was in Liberty Hill.
Yeah, it's in Liberty Hill.
And my good old buddy, Jimmy Marshall, touched my shoulder as we were walking out. He was probably just saying hi to me or something. Well, my jujitsu kicked in. Just kidding. I don't know that at all. But I just turned. I was like, why are you touching me? And I grabbed him and I just put him up against the wall of the school in elementary school. This is kindergarten.
Yeah.
And I was just holding him there. And I think that's like literally the only time I've gotten in trouble. And I think it was grandma who had to pick me up. And because I got in trouble, but he touched my shoulder, man. You don't touch people's shoulders.
Don't touch shoulders.
Did I give you permission to touch my shoulder? Jimmy, we talk about this even now. And it's funny because we both went to Liberty Hill and then he left years before I did. And then I come to Burnett and lo and behold, there he is. And I was like, hey, remember when I threw you against the wall? And he's like, yeah.
Don't bring that up.
He was scared of me. I don't know why I was mean.
Kayci was mean. No.
I was protected.
So, Kayci, thanks for doing this again. Kayci Valdez, those who don't know, hey, and she will answer questions. And if you need anything, like if you're going through maybe something that she mentioned tonight, maybe you're going through that walk right now, and she'll encourage you and she'll pour into you. She's a good person to do that with. She'll talk with you and
forever.
Forever, yes, she will. You won't be able to get rid of her. But
you'll love her.
And you heard it here. She's looking to get back into joining the worship team. So y'all help us hold her accountable.
Help us hold her. And bring your kids to crew class. We're starting soon.
There's her plug.
It is my plug. June 14th. Yes.
Love y'all. We'll see y'all next time on Taco Bout You. Adios.
Bow, bow, bow.
That's not making it.
It should.